Sacrificing hair means sacrificing your own self. It is said that you lose 100 hair, approximately 100 hair a day. Fear of losing hair is another major issue. Any sort of obsession if you have in and around hair is not going to get you the right solution.
One hair care mistake that almost everyone makes.
Hot blower hair oil,
Helpful or hype?
helpful. India is the second biggest market after Turkey for hair transplant procedures. FUT and FUE, there are two methods of hair transplant. Almost 30% of the repaired cases which I do, they come from Turkey. Medicines are necessary evil, should be introduced in the ecosystem of a person only when there is no other option. I have done perhaps the maximum number of synthetic implants in the world.
All right, welcome back to Let's Chat with GB. And today I have with me Dr. Shaiil Gupta, someone who has been specializing in the area of skin and hair, has done more than 15,000 plus procedures. A lot of it when it also comes to corrective hair procedures, something which is quite a specialty, and someone who has got more than 3.5 lakh followers when it comes to social media. So is obviously going out there doing something right. And first up, welcome, Doc. It is great to have you with us at the studio today.
Thank you, Gaurav. Thank you so much.
So, what's been happening at your end? I know you've been keeping yourself very, very busy. You are, an influencer in the space as well, creating some great content and, making a few podcast appearances. So, what's been keeping you busy recently?
So, yeah, for a doctor, most of the time is spent in the consultation room and the operation theater. But I think we have a responsibility to make people aware of the good and bad things about this, to set the realistic expectations. Besides that, I'm a healer also, and I'm a musician, so that keeps me busy.
Yeah, and I think it's so important to have a holistic approach to it. I think what's start happening in the space that you're in, it's just become so commercial. So driven by the money aspect of it that it's good to actually see someone who comes with a more 360-degree wholesome approach to the whole thing as well.
Yeah, so the industry, I mean, I call it industry, hair transplant industry. So the industrialization has already happened and it's been there for quite some time now. And if I say it started from Turkey and then it just moved on, India is the second biggest market after Turkey for hair transplant procedures.
Sure. Yeah, and Turkey, of course. I think one time you may even mention this, and I think all the ads that keep popping up on Instagram, the algorithms pick it up, right? And I just see that the number of people applying to Turkey for procedures from around the world is like what quantum larger than India. So, what would you say? What kind of market share does Turkey have, and what kind of market share does India?
So Turkey is like you board a flight, maybe coming back, or so you will see a lot of people. I mean, almost 20% of the flight with the headbands on, people sitting there with their hair transplants. So I would say still Turkey is having 5 to 5 times probably. But yes, then Turkey is restricted to Istanbul mainly, and India it is spread across Delhi, Mumbai, and so India is bigger.
So when we talk about hair, even mythologically and historically, there have been some references. I mean, we hear about Samson, and his source of his strength was, his hair until, Delilah actually tricked him to cutting it, and that made him lose his power. So from that perspective, is there a connection to that when people start losing hair? They actually start feeling like they're losing, their power, they're losing their strength. Some connection, perhaps, at some level there.
So see, we don't breathe through hair. The hair doesn't pump the blood in the body. So, but we see hair is as a vestigial organ which is just lying on the head. But a lot of emotional and social importance of having hair or being bald. But yes, if we talk about mythology, pundits they keep a bodhi. There are many religions where they grow their hair long. So it is somehow I read somewhere, and your hair act as a medium to channelize the energy of higher beings. So I next side burdens of hair.
And then there is also another school of thought that actually goes and sacrifices their hair, like in Tirupati. People go and they actually, shave off their head. I believe even in Buddhism, when Siddhartha Dawkins, was moving towards, Buddhism, he also did, shave off his hair.
So hair is being recognized as the crowning glory. And when you sacrifice your hair, you sacrifice your ego, your own self, and uh, that's how it is. So sacrificing hair means sacrificing your own self.
Yeah, yeah. And you mentioned that a lot of your time currently is spent on reconstruction and fixing the wrongs of people who've actually gone to chop shops and like just hacks and places which they quack doctors basically. Where you also mentioned that it's now also barbers who kind of become doctors now and start doing these procedures and they're absolutely not trained. And hence a lot of your time now is being spent on corrective hair procedures.
Yes, so there is a trend of, I mean, I'm seeing a steep rise in the cases who come to us for corrective transplants, and they come from all across the globe, not just India. People think that the transplantation and the medical standards are very high in US or somewhere. So that's not the case. So I repeatedly repair surgeries. I last month only I had a patient who had done 9 hair transplants before coming to me, Chris, and that was really crazy. And the donor was all scarred, and you won't believe that even after getting 9 transplants, he did not have the basic idea of the role of medication and how why things went wrong, because one thing which was done wrong in the beginning, after the consecutive surgeries, it was all built upon that.
9 procedures. And I'm just wondering, what kind of, donor area does one have for that? Because primarily when you first go in, I guess it's coming from the sides, it's coming from the back. But once you've gone through such multiple procedures, I mean, where is the donor area? Where is it really coming from?
So, see, obviously, the donor is limited. We are not born with an unlimited supply of donor. And then there are methods of taking out using the donor area. That is FUT, where we cut a strip, and FUE. But the thing is, most of the times they are over promised, and he needed repeated procedures because it was not done.
Right.
So a very small number being done, and then maybe upfront promises made, but then eventually it wasn't done. That's why he needed those repeated procedures.
Correct, correct. So when someone does come across and start looking at a solution here, what are some of the must-haves from your perspective that you must go to, a person, a professional who has at least, this kind of, credentials, reputation? What is the minimum that you recommend?
Yeah. So although whatever we do, it will never ensure that you end up in the right place. But yes, the bare minimum is one should choose a clinic which is owned by a doctor, a dermatologist, or a hair transplant dermatologist, or a plastic surgeon.
Right.
They are supposed to do the procedures, although it does not mean that every dermatologist is trained, every plastic surgeon is trained to do the procedure. So those who have spent time, but obviously when you go to someone, you may not know that what he has done. For example, in the medical training, in the medical colleges, hair transplant procedure is something which is not taught. So we have to attend the seminars and the conferences and hands-on workshops to learn it. So when I started my career back in 2002, I did my first hair transplant at that time. So there were no such form structures to learn the procedure itself. So it was all attending some conferences and learning by hit and trial. But now there are still some better things. So number one, they should choose a doctor run clinic. There are some chain clinics which are owned by businessmen. The primary aim is to obviously earn money. So earning money is not bad, but the at the cost of patient's health, it is not good. And then I have mentioned the qualification, minimum qualification. Some good doctors are members of ISHRS, so that's the international organization.
Right.
So one can look for the affiliations which the doctor has with organizations, and yeah. So usually multi-city clinics, there also at times we see there is a compromise in the quality of the procedure. So, and one most important thing which I would like to mention here, hair transplant methods. So FUT and FUE, there are two methods of hair transplant, but 99.9% clinics globally do only one method, which is called FUE, not FUT.
What's the difference between a FUT and a FUE?
So FUT is follicular unit transplant. FUT, where we cut a strip from the back, we stitch it, and we dissect individual follicular units and their implant. While FUE, we take one by one, single unit.
And is FQB slightly more trending at the moment and slightly
Yes. Yes. Why? See, when I started my career back in 2002, there was only FUT. So I had no other option but to learn that technique. And believe me, it is not easy. It has a long learning curve. So I spent good years of my and still learning, but yeah, I spent good years of my life learning the procedure. And when FUE came into picture around 2009 or 10, and then it really kicked up after 12. So that was the time when we actually noticed this thing going out of hand. Now the clinics mushroom because this is a model where you don't cut the stick, you don't need any surgical expertise, and you just have to put the punch, take one out of three, and implant it. So it is easier, scalable, and does not really need a lot of training. Technicians are doing most of the stuff. Then the technicians started moving to other clinics, and then they actually started training their own. There are so many centers which are actually run by technicians. Some I heard that they are run by some accountant working in a transplant clinic. And one, in fact, came to my knowledge, which was run by I think, some sweeper of the clinic. So that's how. So FUE.
And is there no one that is actually from the perspective of the government or the medical bodies that are actually overseeing these or looking for some kind of certification, etc.?
Yes. So, see, there were cases of deaths happening during hair transplant procedure. They have been reported. They happened in Delhi, Mumbai, and many parts of world. And the reason is in most of these centers are run by technicians, or even for that matter, if you go to a doctor who happens to have a degree of say plastic surgery, MCH, or even dermatology, many of them do not know and don't have training of hair transplantation, so they outsource it. They hire teams of technicians who come there for maybe just 10,000 bucks. They come, they get the surgery completed, and doctor is just acting as a commission agent. That's it. So this is really problematic, and government tried to put some regulations and try to but still there is many things which are not yet to be resolved.
Right. Yeah. And I'm just wondering if someone does go through one of these botched up procedures, do they have any legal recourse, or do they just sign off for their rights when they normally go in for a procedure? How does that normally work?
So obviously there is a consent form which we make the patient fill before the procedure. But yes, gross mistakes. Uh, at times, patients don't even know that they have been tricked, because there is a role of medicine there, which gives you results in 5-6 months. You get all head full of hair. You don't know that the result which you are seeing is actual transplant result, or the medicine boosted result. Up to 90% contribution can come from medicine. Now the doctor becomes zero in the eyes of patient, and he says, "Oh, we got your hair back." Now the patient start cursing himself. Oh, I must have done something wrong, and why the result vanished. So I call it "6 mahine ka Shahrukh." So people get a good density and hairline, or like Shahrukh Khan, but within next 6 months, almost less than a year, it all vanishes, disappears.
And there are implications of some of this medicine, because these are medicines that are, they have crazy side effects. And if you, I think, go down a path where you've kind of been medicated incorrectly, surely there are repercussions, right?
Yes. So there are majorly two medicines. One is minoxidil and the other one is finasteride. So these have been the gold standard medicines for quite some time. In fact, I have a story attached to it when I was young, though I'm still young. So, but it was back in my college days, maybe around 19, I was at that time. Now I'm 49. So I had slight bitemporal recession, and these two medicines were prescribed to me by my professor. And I'd read about the side effects and all in pharmacology, and I was wondering why did he prescribe the medicines? There was no monetary gain or nothing. I mean, he could have gained from me, but I think it was just lack of apathy to. I mean, it was apathy towards fellow human being. That's it. So a lot of indifference, just indifference. You don't bother what is happening to other one. And when it involves your personal benefits, I mean, you can sell a transplant, 10% done job as 100% result.
Sure.
And be a hero in the eyes of the patient and those who see those results on social media. You blow the trumpet and you are done and advertise it, and then this creates a huge gap in between expectations and reality. And the whole of the generation, they just fall for this and then end up with big problems. Many of them, in fact, commit have committed suicides also. There was a case report a few months back. A French guy, he was young, maybe 23, 24. So he got a beard transplant in Turkey, and it was a botched up transplant, and he tried to, convince them to fix it and all, but then the guy just committed suicide. Because wasn't young, yes. Yeah, and it was all right there on the face and unable to hide it. And there is a lot of emotional trauma one goes through when they go for these kind of transplants. And in fact, this medicine, finasteride, there are many side effects which it can cause. One is the sexual side effect like erectile dysfunction, loss of libido, gynecomastia. Then the second category is clouding of consciousness and brain fog. Ravi. Yes, so this is actually important. A lot of sportsmen these days, they get recently a cricketer, a bowler got the transplant done. Now, see, imagine with clouding of consciousness and brain fog, this guy trying to bowl a yorker in the slog overs ends up bowling a full toss and getting it for six. That can destroy the career. I mean, so your personal life, your professional life, and your life, because this third aspect is depression and 270% increased risk of completed suicides by this medicine. So one has to be really careful. Medicines are a necessary evil, should be introduced in the ecosystem of a person only when there is no other option, and that too in microdosing. And I've been working on microdosing of medications. There are many case reports where they have shown that even 1/5 of the dose works well to sustain the existing hair. But with microdosing, we can minimize the side effects, we can minimize the risks, we can also ensure that in case tolerance develops, because if you take a medicine at a specific dose, after they have got a shelf life, maybe after an year or so, they won't keep working with the same intensity. Yes, yeah, exactly. So then you have to reduce, maybe increase the dose, and then it increases the risks. So when we do microdosing, it gives us a safe buffer to increase the dose also in future. Right. So in many ways, it is futuristic and it helps. But yes, the benefits which you get from the medicine are directly proportional to the dosage of medicine. So more the dose, more would be the benefit, more would be the free hair and free credit for the surgeon. So probably they would not reveal this. Yeah.
And minoxidil on its own, that's something that is applied on the exterior, or is that also something that's ingested?
Now, both the medicines, minoxidil and finasteride, both are available in topical and oral formulations. Okay, so minoxidil is classically a topical lotion, and still 2% and 5% are US FDA approved dosage. But now it is available at 7.5, 10, 12.5, 15, and now 17.5%. So these are not approved by US FDA, and these medicines are still available and people use it. And this happens because of tolerance. So unfortunately, tolerance is such an important factor, and this we read in the maybe first few lessons of pharmacology in the medical school. So everyone knows it. You have paneer ki sabzi daily. After 6 7 days, you won't eat it. Now, if you are taking a medicine which you can't stop, if you stop, there is dependence. I mean, if you stop the medicine, you notice severe rebound hair loss. So if the medicine grew 100 hair, where do you stop it? Probably you are going to lose 150.
Right.
So then if you keep increasing the dose, then I mean, obviously you expose yourself.
Right.
So it is like both ways. So balance. So Mahatma Buddha, we were talking about mythology, always talk about the Madhyamar. So there is a Madhyamar which I call min-med approach in medicine.
Yeah, totally makes sense. So, and my biggest takeaway from this is the fact that a lot of people just come in, think if the procedure is done and it's over, but actually there's hand holding to be done over a long period of time. And I think a lot of people, the mistake that they make is that they go into they go into a practitioner, they done the procedure, think it's all done, but there has to be constant hand holding, there has to be monitoring, there has to be repeat consultation. No one tells you this.
Spot on, GD. Actually, see what happens. There is a perception which has been created around hair transplantation. They say many people, in fact, say do it right, do it once, do it once. So it is not something which you get once. Otherwise, Salman won't have undergone so many hair transplants, and still he is empty. So it is a journey. It is not one point destination. And a lot of people see it as a final destination and solution for every problem. No, it is just the beginning of a journey. Tapasya hai ye. You cannot just do it and forget it. So there are three resources involved. One is medicine. Obviously, we need to have a more sensible use of this resource. Second is the donor, which is obviously not of unlimited supply. So you have to make sure that you know the techniques to optimally use it. And third is PRP, another a big thing which is being scammed now. So multiple PRP sessions, one after another. So that also creates a problem. So if you manage these resources in a balanced way, so I have coined I generally customize these treatments for my patients, looking at the pros and as well as cons. Then any good doctor should actually educate the person about those benefits and the limitations and the problems, and then give this power to choose, through the right information, so that person can take an informed decision. So that's how the journey should be planted. And two important M's: monitoring and mentoring. And yes, this is a journey, but you can only go ahead in this journey with someone whom you can trust.
So we spoke about the two processes of the FUT and the FUE. So in terms of commercial contribution by someone, in terms of costs, what kind of costs is one looking at when they go in for some nutraceuticals?
So it is really interesting. So the cost right here in Delhi NCR, India, if we talk about, you'll see I break it into three segments. Okay, one is like less than 20,000. It is being done. Yeah, and then 20,000 to, we can say, maybe you can say less than 50,000. Then the second segment is 50,000 to 5 lakh. And then there is 5 lakh to even 50 lakh. Yes, you heard it right. So I'll tell you the story. So what happens in the first case scenario? Usually they promise you unlimited grafts, and these are the centers where there is no doctor, and they usually just call you up. And I have seen this unlimited grafts. So that you heard it for the first time, yeah. Also, there are so many of them. Recently, I was seeing an advertisement when I was scrolling through my Insta feed. So the clinic claims how we are from Australia and all that. We have so many, and there was the ad said rupees 50,000 unlimited grafts, as if they are going to place grafts from their own head into the patient's head. So yeah, so this is a place where your life can be put at stake, and this is really dangerous. A botched up transplant, costs you much more than money. And the second is the medium range. Now, before we talk about the medium range, the high range. So they will show you some celebrity, maybe a cricketer, actor, director, or something, and higher the cost of endorsement, higher would be the price. So, they can charge you anything from this 5 lakh to 50 lakh packet. And then uh, a person who has money, he thinks that, oh, I won't compromise. But quality, cost doesn't equate to quality.
No guarantees.
No guarantees. So I'll tell you the bottom line of all this. So then an average person would like to have the quality as well as should be budget friendly. So then the medium range.
And the typical male head would have how many hairs, how many strands of hair on it?
Around 1 lakh. Male, female, both.
Right. And how much would it average, someone end up losing in a year?
Yeah. So it is said that, you lose 100 hair, approximately 100 hair a day. So that counts to 3,000 in a month. Now, that means 36,000 in an year. So if you have 1 lakh hair follicles on the scalp, you go bald in less than 3 years' time. Yeah. So there is a hair cycle which is divided into three parts: anagen, catagen, and telogen. So hair group keeps growing in the first phase, that's called anagen, and then the transient phase is catagen, and which is of 1 week duration. Then 3 months duration is the telogen. When a hair enters into telogen, it has to fall. So people who don't get their hair cut, many females, sick people also, they don't get their hair cut. So if they are, say, 80 years of age, it does not mean, you won't see anyone sitting here in Noida and hair growing, reaching take Gurgaon. No, you won't.
So in case someone is losing 100 hairs a day, that's absolutely normal. Now, speaking of Noida, that's where we cut the Noida water is terrible, right? So I'm sure water quality is playing a big role as well when it comes to hair loss. So is that a net?
No, it is to a certain extent. It is true. And a lot of people, I would name the cities: Bangalore, Pune, and sometimes people say Delhi water also. So anyone who is migrating from, say, Lucknow to Pune or somewhere, they'll blame the water of Pune and they'll say, oh, because of the water, I lost hair. But actually, this is the age group where this is happening. So, this is the age group when you are under the scanner, a lot of stress. You move to a different city for studies or for, professional commitments, and you don't get those comforts of home. So that all adds upon to that.
Diet, stress.
Yes. Having said this, for example, Bangalore water is really high on magnesium. So all these hip salts, they can get deposited on the scalp and can really precipitate hair loss. So a water softener in Noida probably would be a great idea to reduce it. Or maybe once you are done with your head wash, at least pour a mug of maybe 2-3 mugs of water. If you don't have anything, or a softener, a Bisleri would do, so that you remove that stuff.
Interesting. Yeah, we have some more interesting questions, for you. I know you've also come into a bit of controversy with people in the profession as well, and we talk about that. And I thought let's do a little bit of rapid fire before that. So I'll just bring up some rapid fire questions, and just feel free to share the first thing that comes to your mind, and you can answer in a couple of words or a sentence.
Yo, it's
All right, it's awesome. Okay, so hair oil, helpful or hype?
helpful.
Okay. Shampoo or conditioner, what's more important?
Shampoo.
Okay. One celebrity with great hair that you admire.
Shah Rukh.
Transplants abroad or transplant in India?
Transplants in India.
Of course. One hair care mistake that almost everyone makes.
hot blower.
That was a prop, so hair dryer, yeah. Okay, okay, awesome. If you weren't a doctor, what would you be? Musician, fine, all right. You've had like 200 plus compositions when it comes to music.
Yeah, in fact, I made a short movie on female feticide also that was woven around the song which I composed.
Oh, wow. Okay. Bored or wake? What's more confidence boosting?
Bald.
Yeah. Hair transplant or PRP? What's your go-to recommendation for most?
No, it has to be customized.
Has to be customized. Okay. All right. Biggest fad in hair care right now?
These days, a lot of people are talking about exosomes and stuff like that. So, yeah.
What is an exosome?
So see, it's an interesting concept. So there are some medicines which are peptides which are present in such a fine, minute form, nano size, that they penetrate into the scalp and are supposed to boost the growth and all. But again, a lot of players coming into this domain overpromise things. People are getting it done anywhere and everywhere, and still the efficacy is highly controversial. But then, less as long as it is sellable, who cares?
Got it. A product that you'd never recommend?
I think hair only.
Okay. All right.
And yeah, the keratins and hair straightening, these parlor treatments, salon treatments, I would never recommend that. Yes.
Just what's worse for hair, stress or sugar?
Stress.
And one surprising cause of hair fall that most people ignore.
The most underrated one, fear of losing hair.
Which city has the most hair conscious clients?
Mumbai.
Okay. If there was a one pill solution to stop hair fall, would you take it or will you wait and watch?
One pill solution? The pill already exists, but we should know what we are popping in. So yeah. So sometimes, as I told, medicines can be necessary evil, as long as you know the consequences and you know the options of using the medicine in a more ethical way.
Right.
I think you should not start.
Awesome. Oh, yeah, thank you for that. And let's come back to this point, which you mentioned that there was a hair mafia, right? A hair transplant mafia, as you call it, who actively started, targeting your social channels because of your viewpoints, because of, your thoughts towards this. Tell us a little bit more about that. Like, what really happened and what was this all about?
See, obviously, when a person loses hair, they lose their confidence. They are emotionally fragile. And there are young boys, young girls also, although it's more prevalent in male population. But this young boy could be your son. This young boy could be someone's, whatever. But you cannot play on the insecurities of these. They are amongst us. We are a society. Come on, as a doctor, I take this onus. It is my responsibility to make people aware of this hair restoration, and this journey has given me so much that I want to pay back. So the thing is, I started my YouTube channel around 8-9 years back, and I started making content, making people aware of this. So, for example, I would tell you, around 7-8 years back, I made a video which was talking about the non-permanent nature of hair transplant results. So we all know now that people who have got the transplants done, Salmans and others, they lose hair. So the transplanted hair are not permanent.
Right.
So I created this video. I showed it to my wife, who is a dermatologist also, and my team. They said, "Don't post this." I said, "Don't post this, or else don't ask us for patience. They won't come." So I sat over it. I did not publish it for a month, but after that, I thought, no, I must make people aware of this. So a lot of opposition came, and people countered it, saying that, oh, these are permanent hair. They don't fall. They stay there for life. They are relatively permanent. There is nothing absolute on this planet. Of course, it is always relative when we are talking. So then the journey went on. So there are issues, there are things, for example, PRP. So PRP or platelet-rich plasma, it is being sold as a great treatment modality to counter hair loss, reduce hair loss, and regrow hair. So multiple sessions of PRP are being sold. There are now different avatars of PRP, GFC, right, or similar to that. So I made a lot of videos around it where this is a clear cut observation, and I have seen this in thousands of patients. Second session or any subsequent session of PRP does not add on to the benefits which you get from the first session.
And you have to leave you multiple. They'll ask you to sign up
Yes.
for 6 and 12 months.
Yes. And the poor chap is traveling across the cities to get this stuff done, unnecessarily going through pain, giving their blood. I tell them, if you will earn good karmas if you donate this blood rather than getting this done. So I spoke about the worthlessness of PRP, at least in this manner. And then obviously I happen to make some enemies also the show. So, but yes, then this medicine finasteride. I so Da Vinci Code. So I discovered the finasteride code, and the story goes long back. So when I started my journey, I did a hair transplant for one of my friend's elder brother. So he was grade 6, grade 7, almost empty, and I did the transplant, but to everyone's surprise, hair grew. That was back in 18, 19 years back. So it was the time when hair did not grow that well, and even if we saw say 100 hair growing out of whatever we put, it was a big achievement. So his entire head got covered, and we were like very happy. He referred me many patients, and in all those patients, nothing grew. So after 2.5 years, when this gentleman came to me, he said, "Doctor, you told me that these hair are permanent, but where did they disappear? They went away." And by the way, my friend's hair also did not grow, which you did. So then later on, I got to know that he was taking the same medicine, finasteride, which I was not aware.
You hadn't even prescribed it.
I hadn't prescribed. So my friend actually prescribed his brother that medicine, and coincidentally, he started at the same point of time. So we thought it is hair transplant, but so yes. So I've never been a very pro medicine man throughout my career. Now the thing went on and on and on. So there was a time when I was struggling uh, to get the dense results, and I was seeing more or less every clinic giving good density.
Sure.
And I thought, and the last nail in the coffin was this guy who happens to be a barber who opened his hair transplant center, and he was showing me his results. Hey, so boss, something is wrong. Either I leave this profession or I have to really know what it is. Then I got to know some 5 years back that this is the medicine which is making the entire difference. And when I got to know that, I started doing more research, and then I published some papers also on this, and then some articles, and then I knew that 90%, more than 90% contribution can come from the medicine in an apparently great hair transplant result. Someone would look for density, coverage, or a natural looking undetectable hairline.
Right.
All these three are contributed up to 90% by the medicine, and it can make an ugly hair transplant look awesome and out of the world. And medicine gone, result gone.
But at some point, someone has to stop taking the medicine, right? So, how many months in would you normally recommend that someone, I mean, of course, you mentioned microdoses, but after how many months do you think one should definitely not be on this?
So, see, when a person comes to you for a consultation or goes to other different clinics, and now if this person is not aware of medicine, haven't heard of it, then it's a home run for the clinic. and they will just say, oh, whatever you take. And but when a person specifically goes and asks, so how long do I need to take this? I do not want to take it for life. So the answers which you get are, oh, you take it for 6 months, we will see, and we will stop thereafter 1 year. But this is not the way. One of my patients, I was operating him, and I asked him, when was your result at its peak, best? I was doing a botched up repair, so his result was really bad. He said, sir, my result was at its best at 2 months. So 2 months is the time when the result does not even start coming. So that's the shedding phase. So he said, when I asked my patient doctor about how long do I need to take it, so he started from 12 months and ended at 2 months. So for that 2 months period, he was taking the medicine, and 90% result came with the medicine. And when eventually he stopped, and the result of transplant started to come, it never came. So you cannot stop the medicine. You can see, for example, I was mentioning about this patient who from Canada whose result lasted for 10 years and still it is on. So I gave him microdosing of medicine, which he took for around a period of 4 to 5 years, and with increasing gaps in between. We detox the body. We asked them to stop the medicine for some time, and for past 5 6 years he was not taking any medicine, and still the result was then. So it varies from person to person. The rate of progression, the DHT hormone activity, everything might vary. So we have to customize it again.
And you will be monitoring those levels with
Yes.
and other things as well.
And one way of monitoring is looking at the non-transplanted hair, looking at the donor, closely monitoring them through the pictures which they share. So, for example, this guy was from Canada. So he came after good 10 years from Canada. Still, we were monitoring everything from there.
Interesting. Yeah, truly, I think hard to find someone who has the kind of like said that you just mentioned, the kind of hand-holding and support. And of course, we are part of common networking in BNI, and I've been hearing great things about what you'll be doing now over there as well. And how can people actually reach you in case they're looking to come across to your clinic, and where can they find you?
So, see, first of all, you can connect with us. I mean, people can connect with us on the social media. So we have channels on social media, Satya Skin Hair Solutions. So my clinic's name, which I founded, is Satya Skin and Hair Solutions. And no wonder we are talking about the truth. And back then in 2002, when I started, 2005 when I started, I had absolutely no idea. I just kept the name on my mother-in-law's name. She is no more. Uh, so we kept the name on her. But yes, so Satya Skin and Hair Solutions, we have two branches, one in Delhi and one in Gurgaon, Delhi area. And then people can uh, connect with us through the website, online, and we also do webinars on hair, because I believe that education is really important, and it is a very important decision of life. So group webinars where I come, take up all the questions, and it really helps a lot of people to go through. And people can just watch our videos on YouTube, Satya Skin and Hair Solutions. I call it the encyclopedia of hair related things. There are more than 1,000 videos on that, and almost everything in more or less in a very understandable language we have
Also put it there also. And I think that's super. And like, I love the fact where you're actually educating. Not everybody not the insight. I think that's such a need today. We come in with from the perspective of to serve, not to sell. And I think the latter is going to happen, automatically. What are some of the trends that you're seeing in the future? Like, what does the future hold? Like we've been speaking about FUT, FUE. I was reading somewhere that the future might have, some stuff around stem cell therapy, etc. What's the future for hair care, the hair transplantation?
So, see, hair cloning is obviously something which is we are looking forward to. So the idea is great. Like, I mean, you just take one hair out and clone it as many as you want to, but still it is under experimental phase, and still nothing concrete has actually come. But yes, we see a lot of stuff being sold in name of stem cell, I would recommend the audience to be aware of that and don't fall for it. In fact, there is an interesting story. There was a doctor, he is from Ames. So he came to me, and this happened 15 years back. So he said, Doctor, I'm getting a transplant done somewhere in Mumbai, and the clinic is saying that we are doing hair cloning. And he actually got it done. I told him, see, you are a doctor yourself and see, but then he got it done. And to the surprise, nothing came, obviously. So then he said, they have given us me a bond, and they said, if the hair don't grow, we will do an FUT surgery. Back then, there was only FUT, and we'll do FUT and fix it up. So he said, I'm getting it for free now. Shall I get it done? I said, please don't go. You know the people who ruined this. And so, but then he went, and then he came back to me for repair with a very big scar at the back. So there are things, I mean, interesting things, but let us see what future has in store for us. But till that point, stick to whatever we have, but you use it logically in a balanced manner.
And are there any medicines that one can take without having the side effects? And I think you have an interesting term that you put in for finasteride as well. We want to tell the listener, the viewers what that term is, and also alternatives, if any.
Yeah, so the terminology which I gave to finasteride is finish it right. So whatever you do with the surgery, however bad it is, but if you give finasteride at full dose, it can make a ugly transplant, an ugly transplant look great. Now the second is finished right. Finished right means if you overdo the medicines, the love story between you and the medicine is not gonna last long, and then because the Brahmastra is already out, so nothing much doctor will be able to do, and then you are in a problem. Then there is another medicine called dutasteride, which is a higher congener of finasteride, which has come into picture now. I mean, getting more popularity, but it should not be the drug of first choice. Now, I've seen this happening a lot. Many patients are prescribed this medicine straight away. However, in my practice, in past 20 years, I've given this medicine maybe max 20 patients, those who develop resistance to finasteride. Correct. So again, dangerous medicine if overdone.
Let's talk about another aspect that I'm hearing a lot of that people are trying, because obviously with donor areas being limited, there's this trend towards synthetic transplants now, and they're like, oh, that's going to give you the best results. What's happening in that space?
So it is not new. I learned this back in 2002 or 3, and since then I have done I perhaps the maximum number of synthetic implants in the world, and it's a good prospect for those who don't have enough donor, who have had multiple procedures, they have no donor left, and if someone does not have time and he's getting married in next 10 days and does not want to wear a patch, so it sounds that good, but then there are limitations. So these are natural hair, I mean, these are not natural hair, these are fibers, but they look exactly like natural hair. They are available in different colors and lengths, and even for that matter, shape, straight, silky, curly. So there are two companies. One is Medicab, and another one is Nido. Medicab is from Italy, and Nido is from Japan. Right. So we do that after a test pad. But yes, there is obviously there is unlimited supply. You just pay money and get whatever you want to fill. But because it is not a part of your own body, so a test patch is needed. 100 hair, then we wait for a month and then do the bigger sessions. But yes, it is not for everyone. Right candidate selection is the most important thing, and I've seen cases where it is done without proper counseling, with over promising, and then it can actually ruin the scalp.
Wow. So there is an element of rejection that could possibly happen in this case.
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
So we've spoken about a lot of horror stories. I'm sure there have been some positive aspects and some good stories that you'd like to share as well. Let's have some of those, Jay.
So I did this transplant around 5 years back, and is it
FUT or FUE?
This was FUE because again the proper technique selection according to the need is important. I did not need a big number of grafts, a small one, so I won't cut a strip for that. So I did just FUE in the frontal area, And then, I wasn't bald. It was just a broad forehead, Hasidic hairline. So many of my friends and my family, my wife and parents, they were against it. They said, "Why do you need it? You have hair." But then I know what difference it brought to my hairstyle and my confidence, and it was awesome. So I remember there was a case uh, where we did synthetic hair implants. So he came to me in the morning, and in the next day he came with sweets and said, "I got married yesterday." So otherwise, a person working in a corporate setup, uh, actors, so many people, everyone wants to look good. So yeah, it just transforms you like anything. It gives you a lot of confidence and self acceptance. Many of my patients are have really been doing great with their in their professional life after the transplant. Right? Yes.
So there are obviously multiple stages of baldness. I think you go from a stage 1 to a stage 7 in it.
Yes, probably.
Yes. So when is it too late? Can someone even stage 6 and 7 actually go in for a transplant, or would you probably not at that point advise?
So as long as the realistic expectations are there, we can do transplants in grade 6 or 7 also. Maybe a frontal coverage they can go for. If there are some miniaturized hair and they respond to medicine, we can even or if the donor is excellent, we can even cover. But yes, transplantation does not give you hair as they were before, but yes, it improves it. It's a kind of camouflage which we create, and yeah, that's how it is.
Otherwise, you can just own the bald look like Jet Bezos or something.
Yes, so Dwayne Johnson and so many other people, they look great, awesome. So being bald is not a sin, and that's what I would like to tell to my people who are watching this. See, you look beautiful, handsome, even without hair. So you won't obviously if you get little more hair without compromising your health, you won't mind it. Otherwise, we are not breathing through hair. So just accept yourself the way you are, and eventually it zeroes down to self acceptance and self love only. Yes.
So powerful, so true. Yeah, like it's not the end of the world. Yeah. Having a chat with Mridali, my wife, once, and she said maybe at some point you should shave off your head and see how that works out. So yeah, might actually give better shots.
I can imagine you already doing it.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's talk about home care solutions. Stuff that every day viewers and listeners can do, things that would just help them go on a path to not lose too much hair and take better care of their hair. What are some of the home care solutions that people could do?
So the lifestyle modification. So your diet plays a very important part in it. Sleep cycle, that again is a very important part. So these days we see people wake up till, late. They sleep at 2 or 3 a.m. So that's something which disrupts the binaural cycle of the rhythm, and then this is a problem. So diet, a lot of junk food being into picture. So people that have more of seeds, especially the pumpkin seeds, they have great DHT blocking activity. A fistful of seeds really helps a lot. Avla, gooseberry, they can have that, and then the almonds or walnuts, that also helps. So these taking care of, and then specific diet according to the structure of the body. So we have dietitians in our ecosystem. They guide them, and a more of holistic approach helps. Then using oil. Oil is a controversial thing. You will see a lot of dermatologists discouraging oil, but I use oil myself.
Any type of oil that you recommend?
So rosemary oil, sometimes even coconut oil, these help, and there are some mix of oils also. So your scalp will only tell you when you apply it. Yeah, this one I feel good after applying this. So oil makes a coating on the scalp and locks up the moisture. So it prevents UV damage and the pollution damage on the hair shaft. So it has, and when you do that, people are even scared of touching their hair. And I always tell my patients, be aware of the emotion which is flowing from your hands to your hair. Most of the time, it is fear. So when you wash it, when you are shampooing it, you are scared even to touch the hair. बाल गिर जाए. आप नहीं करेंगे तो भी तो गिरेंगे. So it is anyway going to fall. So JC Bose. So he did a study on plants. So the emotion connect with the plants when you say give love to the plants standing there, so they grow faster. Same is with the hair. So if you don't do that, you are most of the times you are scared of the fear of losing hair is another major issue.
It's almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy. You're willing it, and it's kind of happening by virtue of your fears. Or
Yes, तो मैं तो बोलता हूँ इनविटेशन कार्ड छपवा दिया. So then regular massage of the scalp. So these days we have derma rollers also. The comb with needle. So you do it. It gives an injury to the scalp and then improves blood circulation. So your affirmations while you are touching your hair, eating your food, drinking your water, you can charge it up by good affirmations. Okay, so the food which I'm having, I thank it for to improve my hair. So you channelize it. You channelize the energy.
yeah, I think it's so true. And I keep hearing, people saying, "Oh, my hair's falling," and they come out, of a shower or after swimming, and they're like, "Oh my God, my hair's thinning." So all of these are again, like negative affirmations, in that you shouldn't definitely be saying. And I think that's going to definitely have an effect. So again, let's talk about the oils. So in terms of duration of keeping oils on, sometimes here it should be kamlua, sometimes here it should be overnight. Thoughts some more?
So, well, there is no specific guideline for it. It varies from person to person. So, if someone is having a lot of sticky dandruff, that is seborrheic dermatitis, we usually avoid oil also, or a shorter duration would suffice. But yeah, if in other people, we can just leave it overnight also. So, if someone is having acne or stuff like that, then a shorter contact period.
And dandruff has a big role to play in hair loss as well.
So that is again a myth. So because of DHT activity, excessive DHT activity, you can have more dandruff. You can have more hair loss. But it doesn't mean that controlling dandruff is gonna reverse the hair loss or something. Okay, they are two separate entities. Only relation is both happen with excess DHT.
Also, seeing a lot of online ads that have right now been coming for DIY solutions and array transplant will not work, or transplant, there's a whole bunch of stuff that things said around that. But if you apply ROAs, if you apply a lotion, if you take up pills, everything will be fine. What's happening in this space?
So there are two interesting stories which I would like to mention here. One, so there are a lot of online portals and many patients these days, they when they come for later stages of baldness and for hair transplantation also, most of them have already tried this lab. Okay, so but the problem is and this is something like that doctor homeopathic chain which they used to what was the name, I don't remember. So they used to come on a, yes, that one. So now what happens? One day I was just scrolling through my Insta feed, and there was an advertisement from such one company, and the photograph which they were showing 0 days, 30 days, 60 days, 90 days was of my own patient who happened to be my hair transplant technician, whose surgery I did around 8 years, 7, 8 years back, and it was his result being portrayed as the medicine result.
They have your permission.
Obviously, yeah, obviously, and it was a transplant result, not the medicine result. So, and another story, like while hiring doctors for my clinic, I was interviewing one of them. She used to work with these portals, online portals. So I asked her, "How long do you prescribe minoxidil or finasteride or something?" So she said, "6 months." Sir, 6 months का course होता, and we prescribed. What happens after 6 months? So like, the duration of course is 6 months only. So she did not know anything about it, and so a lot of people waste their money, time, energy, and faith in this. If they had contacted some good dermatologist for that, probably they would have fared better.
And these are not cheap solutions, right? A lot of them are asking for a premium, fucks
Yes.
making this happen.
Yes, and you cannot customize this. See, I believe in more holistic approach, and when people talk about gut health, you cannot generalize it by giving some medicine. There are different doshas in Ayurveda, Vat, Pitta, or Kapha. So it has to be customized, not a one tablet solution for everyone. One shoe fits for all. So, in fact, at our center we do panchkarma treatments. These help the patient to have more, proactive gut and a better absorption of nutrients to the gut, and it also works on your stress levels. And I, being a healer as well, so see, the emotions are stored in gut only. So that is the third chakra, which is called solar plexus, Manipur chakra. So if you release the stuck up energy in that chakra, it really helps to ease out on the fears of hair loss and other things. And I do this regularly with my patients.
Also, in terms of people who walk in for treatment, I mean, we've spoken a lot about, male baldness and all that. But in terms of percentages of women versus men, is there a ratio that normally come into the trend?
So, you know, hair loss obviously is more prominently seen in males as compared to females. Females usually complain of hair loss, maybe thinning of the braid, right, and some loss of density in the center portion. Surprisingly, when a couple comes, husband has lost more hair, is apparently bald, and the wife is actually crying, "Oh, my hair are gone." So the problem is, I told you 100 hair normally fall a day. Now a bunch of 100 hair in case of a female would be maybe 10 times bigger as compared to male. So most of the times they see their problem with a magnifying lens, and then they get scared, and then they get into that vicious cycle of fear and all. So most of the times, because of the genetic makeup, hormonal makeup of a female, they don't lose hair that way. They don't go bald like a man. But yes, there can be telogen effluvium, hair shedding. That can be, in most of the cases, reversed.
And I heard you mentioning once somewhere that it is also on the basis of women if they're tying up their hair. That's a big cause, the stress that comes because of that. And that's a lot of reason for hair fall as well.
So that's called traction alopecia, that we also see in sick people. So because they tie a turban, or sometimes they tie the beard,
Correct.
and pulleys with very tight bands. So there is a lot of traction which is put at the root of the hair, and that can, over a period of time, can be irreversible.
Interesting. Medical tourism, I mean, we spoke about, Turkey being maybe 5x the size of, India and more. And it's almost like when people think hair transplant is in Turkey, what does India need to do to grab a share of global, hair transplantation business from Turkey?
So, Turkey has geographic advantage because it is in Europe and the Gulf, and even the US flights are relatively shorter intro, cousin true. So the geographic location of Turkey makes it more apt for this thing. But yeah, they offer you packages, five-star hotel stay, pick and drop in quick limousines, and so that's how it is. But people who are actually really considering the knowledge and the skills, they are preferring India over Turkey, and Turkey is like a factory, and no customization, nothing. I have uh, almost almost 30% of the repair cases which I do, they come from Turkey.
Crazy. Yeah, I think you're right. I think the marketing is just too good. We'd send in the stretch limo, they'd have the five-star hotel package and make it look really titsy.
Yes.
I think sometimes India can do a better job of marketing itself, not only in this domain, but every domain. Right? I was in Nagpur yesterday, and I come to a point which is called Zero Mile. Now, Zero Mile is supposed to be the center of undivided India. Okay, right? So between all like Pakistan and Bangladesh, and everything else, and all you had was a sign that said Zero Mile. It was a zero miling that's in New Zealand, okay, or there was maybe somewhere in Europe. I mean, there would be a big, there'd be souvenir shops and there'd be like monuments would have come up and people would place big selfies. Yeah, रुकने की जगह भी नहीं थी. Right? So it's like almost like, अच्छा अच्छा चलो चलो, and there's just one fence and a board says zero mile. I'm like, damn, I'm like, that's just a lost opportunity.
Yeah.
And I think similarly, I think we can do a better job to market ourselves even in this domain as well.
You are absolutely right. And that can actually help.
So, party thoughts, as we decide to close up, on this, what is it that you want to tell our viewers and listeners, people who might be fearful, who might be, perhaps apprehensive, or just might even, have any thoughts on this? So anything that you want to leave our viewers, sir?
So, see, hair is obviously an important part of our personality, and as I've mentioned, we don't breathe through hair. So, any sort of obsession if you have in and around hair is not going to get you the right solution. So, whenever you are looking for a solution, it starts from your lifestyle and mindset. So, take care of your mindset, love yourself enough, uh, accept yourself. It is a journey from, sometimes I say, self hatred to self love. It's a beautiful journey. You are going to learn a lot of things in this, and don't be just desperate, otherwise you are an easy prey for the vultures. So just focus on educate yourself while finding the solutions, do the basic things right, and you are all sorted.
I love that. In fact, just one last point that I want to touch upon, and we've spoken about great hair, and this is the point of celebrities at great hair, right? So, what's happening, in that domain and Hollywood, Bollywood, anything that you want to share on the celebrity side of things?
Yeah, so celebrities people see as a source of inspiration, and they do whatever they are doing. So in fact, a lot of credit of hair transplants being so popular, it goes to Salman Khan in India, and many in Hollywood. So, but the thing is, there is a lot of marketing which has been done around it, and they look different in real life and look different in the real life. I myself have done many corrective transplants for many of the celebrities where their hairline was really in bad shape. Now they are actually hiding it with powder and all, and that really becomes problem. Now people see them as a role model. Many of them I've seen doing marketing for different clinics, some paid endorsements also. But even if someone is paying you money, my message to the celebrities is, even if someone is paying you money, please don't play with your own life, your own health. Do your research, right? And I know you are busy, you go by reference, but yes, you really, this is your head, your life, and please make sure that you are getting it right, as well as you are sending the right signal in the community, because as a celebrity it is again your responsibility what you are showing to the public. And if a young boy ruins his life watching your videos or your results, then obviously the onus is on you also.
So true. I think an important lesson for influencers, celebrities, and the likes that don't really endorse something that isn't really good for your potential pen pollen as well. Exactly. So thanks so much, Shivan, for all the shares. And there is, I know you took a big trip all the way across. I know come and see us in Noida. So just a few tokens of appreciation, from Kasai Bar. So this I have for you is from Shantanu Nikin. So that's a Banok roller pen for where you're writing some of your journals, papers, and all that. There's also a Shantanu Nikhil passport holder because you spend a lot of your time traveling, and of course some inspo affirmations and bowls. So this is one of our products, which is the Skill Image UB Cortana, and just a little something for you as well. I'll of course be happy to sign that for you as well.
Thank you so much, Karan. So thoughtful of you. Thank you so much.
Once again, man, thank you for coming down. Thank you for sharing your knowledge and thank you for sharing your insights on Let's Chat with GB. And viewers, listeners, we will put in Dr. Shail's coordinates and clear details in our comment section as well. And just give him a look in, follow that YouTube channel, 3.5 lakh people and more who are in his digital ecosystem. So I highly recommend that you connect with him. And let us know your thoughts on this episode. I'm sure you found it very, very useful. And looking forward to seeing you get so. We have a very large viewership, but in conjunction to that viewership, the subscription on the podcast, well, there's some work to be done as well. In fact, 98% of our viewers are not subscribers to our channel. So if I can make a request to each and every one of you, if you find value in what we deliver, if you like the content that we bring on the podcast on Let's Chat with GB, just go ahead and hit the subscribe button and do share here as well. It will go a very, very long way in bringing a lot more guests, a lot more value content, and a lot more value to each and every one of you. Looking forward to having you as our subscribers. Thank you.